Hi everybody, it's Shannon. I just got back from the hospital where I had a paracentesis done. And for those of you who don't know what that is, if you get, I think it's called ascites, which means extra abdominal fluid that builds up, you have to go and have a procedure called a paracentesis. So I'll back up and kind of give you the history on this. I have been gaining weight at a pretty good little clip here lately that I've noticed over like the past, I guess, 3 or 4 weeks. And I didn't think too much about it at first because the doctor had taken me off oxaliplatin, which really does a number on your appetite. So I thought, well, all right, I have my appetite back, so maybe I'm just eating more than what I realize. But then this past week, or last week, I was in pain, just like sitting in my stomach. So I sat down and there would be this god-awful pain and it would go away if I stood up. And so I started thinking about it and why that would be and about how much weight I gained. And then it dawned on me where I was gaining the weight. And I was gaining the weight like in the upper part of my stomach and just in my stomach in general, which is not where I gain weight. If it had been like in my hips, ladies, you understand. Hips and my butt, I would have been like, yep, that's probably a donut. But it was not there. It was in my upper abdomen of all places. And then it was going to my middle abdomen. And then it was trying to go to my lower abdomen. And I was like, I just don't gain weight here. This is not normal. Like, this is not food related. Then I started trying to think back to when have I ever felt pain like this? And the only thing I could almost equate it to was when I had the pocket of fluid after my liver resection, and I had to go to radiology and they had to put in a drain. And, you know, it had to stay in for, 2 weeks to drain off the excess fluid from the pocket next to the liver resection. So it kind of felt like that, but nothing as bad as pain like that. So I really started just kind of thinking about it. And finally, the next day I had pain too. And I just thought, okay, I'm going to call my oncologist. I'm not going to do the wait and see thing, which is normally what I have a habit of doing, that he doesn't like that I wait forever once I think something's up. So I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and call him and tell him what I think it is. Because also that night I had heard like this sloshing sound, which is, I know sounds bizarre, but that's what it sounded like, was like a sloshing. Whenever I would roll over, I could hear it. And so I thought, I think this is fluid. I just think there's fluid in my stomach. So I called on a Wednesday. And the nurse called me back, and I was hoping he would just call in some like diuretics and I'd be done with it. But the nurse called back and said, no, he wants to see you on Friday. So last Friday, it's Tuesday today, by the way. So last Friday I went and I saw him and I told him my tale of woe, and he pushed on my stomach, which was rock hard. And he said, no, it's fluid. And he said, but I don't think it's cancer. To which I told him, Lord, I didn't know it could be cancer. I mean, I think I would have at least worried somewhat about that before I decided, well, there's nothing you can do about it, so whatever. And he said that because my CEA numbers or tumor marker numbers have stayed the stable 2, I think it's like a 2, for months now. So he said, you know, they haven't gone up, so it's not like this is some new cancer that's forming in the cavity. But of course, when I had the paracentesis done, he sent some of it off to the lab just to make sure. So in order to get rid of all this fluid, I have been taking these diuretic pills, 2 different ones he prescribed me from Friday to Tuesday, so for 4 days. In those 4 days, I finally got on the scale this morning before I went to the hospital for the paracentesis. I got on the scale today and I had lost 8 pounds just from the diuretic pills. And I was feeling so much better, like the tightness and the fullness and just the pain. And I swear I looked about 4.5, 5 months pregnant. The part of my upper abdomen started going down So I really felt like, okay, I probably lost most of the fluid that's in there. It doesn't look too bad anymore. So I got to the hospital, and you have this done in radiology. They take some blood first to make sure like all your clotting factors are good. Then they take you back just to a room, and they do an ultrasound on your abdominal cavity to make sure that really there is enough fluid in there to warrant having this procedure done, and apparently there was. So, but all of mine was kind of gathered on my right side, so they had me roll over to my right side, just so it would drain a little bit quicker. So I did that, and what they do is I had a PA, lovely physician's assistant, come in, and she says she does them all day, every day. And they sterilize the area. First they use, the ultrasound again to make sure that they're not going to hit any major kind of organ or anything. But really what all they're doing is going into your abdominal cavity. So they're not really going that deep. So it's not like if you were having like a biopsy on something, or even if you've had like an amniocentesis, it's like you don't have to go through that muscle wall or anything like that. So it's not that painful. But the first thing they do is what's the most painful in it, which is they put the lidocaine in you so that they can then insert a needle. So that part, when they do the stick and the burn, that's the part that hurts the most. And part of it, I think, is just because it's in your stomach. And, that's just not a pleasant place to get needles put. But, quickly it becomes numb. So probably it wasn't 5 minutes of us chit-chatting before it was time, and she inserted the needle into the right place, found the right place, put the tubing in, and then they hooked the tubing up to these 1 liter bottles. And the 1 liter bottles have like this little suction thing. The bottle provides the suction. And I was amazed. I really thought that maybe they'd get 1/2 liter or 3/4 of a liter or something like that was all that was left in me. No. 1 liter bottle goes down, they hook it up to the next one. The 2nd liter bottle goes down, they hook it up to the next one, and it's like 0.2 of that one. So 2.2 liters of fluid got siphoned off of my stomach, which apparently is the equivalent of 4.4 pounds. So that meant that I had lost 12.4 pounds worth of fluid in 4 days. So no wonder, if you have this, you feel like a balloon that just needs to be popped. But that's what a paracentesis is. So if you ever have to have one, it's not that bad, and you feel so much better after it's over. The worst part, again, is just when they go to numb it, and it's that stick and a burn part that hurts. But once it's numb, you really don't feel anything. Sometimes at the end, you can feel like the pressure once all the fluid is out, but they haven't released the valve in you yet. That's a little uncomfortable, but I wouldn't say it hurts. So that is what I had done today. Yesterday, I had a CT scan, and I get to find out the results of that tomorrow when I go in for chemo. So we'll see. But for those of you who feel like, you have, and it's not even, it kind of feels like bloating, but it's worse. It's like that tightening of your stomach where, it's just painful. So if you have that, by all means, let your oncologist know and go in and see if in fact it is fluid that's building up. And if it is, he or she will direct you towards the radiology department, and you'll feel much, much better afterwards. So that's my update today, and my newest procedure done that I've never had done before. And I hope everybody stays strong and is positive, because, it's always your choice to be happy. And I will talk to y'all later. Bye.